Welcome to PT Live. Today the topic is energy, which is obviously a huge topic and very much in the public debate in Poland. We have with us today Joanna Maćkowiak Pandera, who's president of Forum Energii. This is a Warsaw-based think tank. And Robert Tomaszewski, who's senior analyst for the energy sector for Polityka Insight, which is Poland's leading source of political analysis and business intelligence. Welcome to you both.
Hello.
Hello, Richard.
Obviously, this is short, 10-minute thing, and energy is a massive topic. And I would like to ask, first of all, Joanna, Forum Energii, what's the main aim for you? What do you want to achieve as a forum?
So our main goal is to support energy transition in Poland. We all know that energy sector is changing dramatically, not only because of decarbonization, but also because of technology development. And we want to help Poland to make a use of this energy transition. This is basically our goal.
Mm-hmm. Robert, Poland has a bit of a bad rap in terms of energy. Mm-hmm. Is that deserved?
I think yes. We are a dirty boy in Europe. We have the biggest dependence on coal from all the European states. And the process of transformation of our energy sector was till now very slow. But since the landscape of the European carbon market changed dramatically, also our sector is changing. And as Joanna mentioned also, the impact of the technology changing and the renewable energy getting cheaper is making this whole process happening now in Poland.
Mm-hmm. What are the main issues facing the energy sector in Poland in the next few years? I know that energy prices are going to go up pretty soon. Is that one of them, or what are the main issues from your perspective?
The prices are one of the most important topics, but we have to get back to the problem. The problem is the dependence on coal of whole energy sector, and how we're going to manage with it. We still we have a transformation which is very blind. Government still hasn't decided about the project of the Polish energy policy till 2040. Companies, on the second hand, are trying to run away from coal because staying with it for a longer period would be a suicide option for them. We have aging fleets of the power plants, which we will have to turn off in the next decade. Meaning that we have to find a way to get our electricity to the grid and like decrease the risk of the blackout. So that's the main challenge for our energy sector for now.
And Jana, from your perspective, what are...
And from my perspective, indeed, there are, I agree with everything what Robert said, but we see also some technical challenges. The first one is the summer peak. Basically, because of aging coal fleet, Poland actually faces problems during summer because the demand is growing. We use a lot of air conditioning, and the main challenge is actually related with the power supply during summer, and this is where we see a lot of opportunities for photovoltaics, and actually the share of photovoltaic now is growing dramatically, and we as a country, we look for projects, solar projects. Another challenge is that in 10 years' time, the lignite production and also production of electricity from lignite will actually sharply go down because the current mines will be just over, and it means that we have to think about the idea how to cover this generation gap which will emerge. It's above 9 gigawatt of capacity which will just disappear in our view in 10 years. And then this is the question whether we are going to import electricity from our neighbors like Germany, Sweden, are we going to cover the gap with gas? Nuclear, it's certain that this project does not have a chance to appear in the Polish power system in the next 15 years. We still are considering, financing how to do it. So, or maybe gas is option. Gas, of course, it has also some limits because on the European level we actually discuss full decarbonization, and we have some gas resources in the country, but nevertheless it would always mean more gas imports from abroad. So that altogether makes it, well, quite complex.
Why? I mean, it appears from the outside that the government is very much wanting to appease, if you like, the coal lobby and also the miners, because they are an election issue. But surely that's overstated. I mean, why do they seem to be worried? Because that's only one small part of the electorate, and most of the electorate wants to see healthy, air, etc. So, on the political side,
small but very loud and very important from the perspective of the policymakers. Like in the last decades, the number of miners decreased by 40%, meaning that also their political influence on the policy of government decreased.
Roughly how many are there?
80,000 now.
80,000.
We have.
All based around Silesia, or mostly around Silesia?
Together with lignite, it's around 100,000, 115,000.
So
miners.
Significant, but not huge.
Yes.
I mean,
yes, but they still are very strong. They have very strong mining unions, which are very well organized. They can organize protests. They are loud in media, and a lot of also companies in Silesia are depending on the coal sector. They are producing machines, harvesters in the mines. So, from the perspective of the economy, the share of coal industry in our GDP is also decreasing, but it's around 1%. But it's still significant from the perspective of policymakers. This decrease in the number of miners allowed government to create more like this energy policy in a more effective way, meaning that they could, for example, like give some opportunity for the utilities to make this process of transition faster. But it's still not enough pace to be sure that we will avoid blackout and avoid very high electricity prices in comparison with other European states.
Maybe on top of this, I would like to ask why is it changing? Because actually Robert mentioned that indeed utilities are not, they see all the challenges related with the strong association with the coal assets, but what is changing now, the approach to coal in Poland, is actually that we have a challenge to cover our own domestic demand with the coal production, which means that we just have to lower the demand for coal, otherwise the coal imports, and mainly 80% of imports are coming from Russia, they will just increase, and it will make us more dependent once we do a lot in order to diversify the gas supply and actually, not to be so much dependent on Russia. Then we will be dependent when it comes to coal, and this is certainly changing the perspective in Poland. And this, the second issue is heavy air pollution. So actually 36 most polluted cities out of 50 in Europe are located in Poland.
Yeah, and that's very damning.
It's just changing the perspective of the society.
Let's say, trying to find a positive light here, there are some cities and there are businesses in Poland which are, coming up with innovative solutions to the smog and the air quality. I mean, is that the case, or is it universally not a very positive picture? I mean, what are some positive elements maybe in Poland on the energy side of things?
Positive elements is indeed that cities are taking the initiative now, because in fact, in my view, the strategy of the government is still lagging behind. So it's still, actually government announced that they want to do something with air pollution, but in my view, still action and the plan is missing. So actually the cities are taking over the initiative, and they are...
Which cities are, for example, which cities are very proactive in this?
Yesterday we also adopted the climate adaptation strategy. So,
by who? By cities? Cities or government?
City council adopted it, yes. But in southern Poland there is a lot of cities and towns which are facing the challenge of smog, like everyday life, and they are trying to fight with it.
What about on a ground level? That a lot of this is the surprising thing, that sometimes even in villages where you expect it'll be clean air, it's even worse than in some of the cities. And a lot of it is because local households are burning basically rubbish. Will there be fines? Are there fines coming in for this sort of thing, for households or businesses which are burning rubbish?
Yeah, basically it's not allowed, so it's illegal if somebody do it. But of course, the monitoring and the whole, fines system is very complicated. But indeed, when we come to the issue of the cities, we work very recently. We signed agreement with Żywiec, a city in the south of Poland, which is, in our view, very progressive, and they want to do something because with air pollution, because they see it as a limit for the development. It's a very attractive city, beautiful city, surrounded with beautiful mountains, and actually, once it became obvious that Żywiec is the third most polluted city in Poland, nobody would like to live there. Nobody would in future. Nobody would like to invest. So
what are they doing in a nutshell? What are they going to do?
We try together now to develop the concept of the thermomodernization of the houses, and using also potential of the domestic small district heating system which they have, because actually district heating in the Polish smallest city, they face a lot of challenges. The most expensive heat supplied by the district heating is basically in the smallest city. Actually, Warsaw have the cheapest heat in Poland, and actually the citizens here are the richest. So this is the paradox. So how to transform the district heating, that heat supply will be attractive option for the citizen, and how to get rid of coal basically until 2030 from households. What are the options? How local people could afford it, because once you indeed burn the rubbish or very cheap coal or coal waste, it's just each cleaner option is just most expensive. So this is the dilemma, how to construct the case and not to increase energy poverty in Poland, doing energy transition.
And there is also one very important factor which is also happening. The thing is that there is a growing number of Polish people who are becoming prosumers. So they are starting to produce their own energy with mostly like 99% with photovoltaic panels. And now we have, on the end of last year, we had 55,000 households producing their own electricity. It's 100% more in comparison with the year before. And this process is getting faster. As Joanna mentioned earlier, the photovoltaics will become more important part of our energy mix. And it will help our energy system definitely during these summer peaks. But this process means also that the smog, the prosumers, shows that the awareness of the environmental issues, energy issues, is growing among Poles. Like they're more convinced that this is important topic.
So this is an election factor.
Yes,
for
absolutely.
To take into account.
Yes.
So you think it'll become stronger and stronger?
Absolutely.
Pressure to.
Yes. In the end of last year, there was the first Polish politician who said that we need to have coal exit. It was Robert Biedroń. Now we have this debate. It's the traction of it is getting a little bit slower, mostly because government frozen the electricity prices for households and most of the companies. But since next year, it will go again with really fast pace. And I believe that this awareness of Poles about the need of the energy transition will grow.
Okay, so just a last point. You've mentioned photovoltaic, which seems to be gaining traction. What other sources of renewable or sustainable energy are gaining traction or could be significant in Poland's energy future?
There is huge interest in developing offshore wind farms, and Polish state company PGE has established a company just dedicated to offshore wind. I still think that onshore wind have potential, and after this government stopped development on onshore wind, some new projects are coming because it's the cheapest electricity source. Also storage is gaining the momentum in Poland because of some market-related changes. And paradoxically, I think that the higher electricity prices, in fact, in the last years we experienced very low electricity prices, which did not attract many energy efficiency investments or renewables investments. But now, once the companies and energy-intensive companies, they are seeing that the prices are going up, they want to just have a kind of insurance against the higher prices, which means, and then we come to the moment where we see that renewables are not the expensive option anymore. So renewables
So
can compete with coal. There is a huge development on the storage side. I also think that the sector coupling, like coupling heating sector with the power sector and transport sector with power sector, has a lot of potential in Poland. So in my view, Poland is a very interesting market with a lot of challenges and changes at the moment, which in the future may mean a lot of investments on the energy
So is it a market
side.
for international energy investors to be looking at?
I certainly think it is.
Absolutely, yes. I will just say that in 6 years, in 2025, there will be moments, according to European regulation, when government will be not able to support coal power plants from the capacity market, meaning that it will dramatically change the landscape. It will be, we don't even know now how big this change will be for the Polish system. But I believe that from the perspective of international investors, like looking for new opportunities, it will be a very good moment to install in Poland.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much. I mean, obviously, it's a huge topic. We could go on for hours, but you've given a great taste of how the market is looking. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.